Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this tutorial we are going to learn how to make a cute little sheep. So for this you are going to need milk cotton yarn. I'm using this brown, like pastel brown color 4-ply and white color 4-ply. And also you'll be needing a crochet hook in the size 3mm. First things first, let's start off with the magic ring. So if making the magic ring is challenging for you, you can chain 2 and do the work into the first chain. So this is how I make the magic ring. Basically you're gonna make a cross over your index and middle finger, and then you're gonna send the hook or under and over like this, and then twist, and to top it off you're gonna chain 1. This is not the stitch, this is not the first stitch, it's just the magic ring. After you finish making the magic ring, you're gonna make 7 single crochets into the magic ring. To make the first single crochet, insert the hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. That is a single crochet, and you're gonna repeat this for 6 more times. This is going to be your row 1. By the end of this first row, you should be having 7 single crochets. Now you are going to pull from the tail to make the opening close, or to make the magic ring tight. And this is what you'll be having. A stitch is this V-shaped part that you can see. You can count and make sure that you have 7 stitches in the first row. 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Next, to start the second row, you're gonna insert your hook into the first stitch and place 2 single crochets. So that means you're gonna do an increase. In patterns you might see the 3 letters INC. That means whatever the stitch you are doing, you have to do it 2 times into the same stitch. So for second row, you're gonna make 2 single crochets in each of those stitches. By the end of row 2, you should be having a total stitch count of 14. Also, if you are a complete beginner, don't forget to mark your first stitch, because otherwise you will get confused. You can use a stitch marker or whatever you have as a stitch marker. You can use the tail even. Okay, so you have to do increases into each of the stitches, and I'll meet you guys at the end of row 2. By the end of the second round, this is what your work should look like, and the total stitch count would be 14. So to start the third round, you're going to insert your hook into the first stitch and place 1 single crochet. Into the next, you're going to do an increase. So the pattern is single crochet increase. You're gonna repeat this until you reach the end of the row. I'll meet you guys at the end of row 3. Okay guys, I'm at the end of row 3, and by the end of this row the total stitch count would be 21. If you noticed, we are working with multiples of 7, so the first round is 7, the second round is 14, and the third round 21. For the fourth row, you're going to place 1 single crochet into the first stitch. You're going to do an increase into the second stitch, which means you're going to place 2 single crochets, and into the third stitch you're going to do 1 single crochet. So the pattern is single crochet, increase, single crochet, single crochet, increase, and single crochet. you're gonna repeat this until you reach the end of this round, and I'll see you guys there. Okay guys, I'm at the end of that round, which is round or row number 4, and by the end of this row we will be having 28 as our total stitch count. For the next row, we are just going to place a single crochet into each of the stitches. There is no any increases or decreases in the stitch count. It will remain the same, which is 28. You're gonna do this for the next 3 rounds, and I'll see you guys there. Okay, so this is how your work should look like right now. So we have a total of 7 rounds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The last 3 rounds were just single crochets. For the next round, we are going to work in the back loop only. In patterns, you will see BLO, back loop only, which means you can see this V shape in the stitch where there is a front loop and a back loop. This is the back loop. You're gonna work into that. Okay, so in the back loop only, you're going to make single crochets just like before. No any change for the pattern. Just place single crochets into the back loops. Also, don't forget to mark your first stitch. Here you can see that I'm using the tail to mark the first stitch. Continue making single crochets and I'll meet you guys at the end of this row. So by the end of row 8, this is how your work should look like. You could see a ridge like thingy in your work. That is because we did our work only into the back loop. For the rest of the project, you're going to work into the back loop only. So into the first stitch, you're going to place 1 single crochet. Likewise, you're going to just keep on placing single crochets, no any change for row number 9. So the total stitch count would stand the same, which is 28. For row number 10, you're going to do the same thing. Just place single crochets in the back loop, and I'll meet you guys by the end of the 10th row. So as you can see here, I am at the end of row number 10. There is no change in the stitch count. Still you will have 28 stitches. From this row onwards, we will be doing decreases. Into the first stitch, you're going to place 1 single crochet. Into the next 2 stitches, you're going to send your hook just like this. And then you're going to yarn under, pull up a loop, or if you're familiar with yarn over, you can yarn over and pull up a loop. You got 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through 2. That is a decrease. And then next a single crochet. So the pattern is single crochet, decrease, single crochet. You have to repeat this until you reach the end of this row. In patterns, you might see the 3 letters DEC. This stands for decrease. Don't forget that we are working only in the back loop. Continue the pattern until you reach the end of the round, and I'll see you guys there. Okay guys, I've reached the end of that round, and now it's a perfect time to start filling sheep's head with polyfill. So if you don't have polyfill, you can use scrap yarn, you can use like cotton wool, or like whatever is suitable as stuffing. I'm using polyfill. Once you are happy with the amount of stuffing inside, you can start doing the next round, which is another decreasing round. So into the first stitch, you're going to place 1 single crochet, and into the next 2 stitches, you're going to do a decrease. So you're going to single crochet 2 stitches together. The pattern is single crochet decrease. Repeat this until you reach the end of the round, and I'll see you guys there. I just finished that round, and if you feel like you need more polyfill inside, feel free to stuff it in with more stuffing, and then we'll continue to the next round. This is basically the last decreasing round that we will be doing. For this round, you have to just do decreases. So, single crochet 2 stitches together until you reach the end of the round. So if your stitch count is correct, you will be doing this 7 times, and by the end of this round, you will be just left with 7 stitches. Okay, I'll see you guys at the end of this round. Okay, we are almost done. You're gonna leave enough yarn and cut the yarn, and next, by the help of a darning needle, we are going to stitch this opening close. Get a darning needle and you have to send the needle through the front loops of this, just like this, and then pull from the yarn end. Next, just hide the yarn tail, secure it, and cut off the excess yarn. The basic head of the sheep baby is done. You can see the ridges like this. This ridge will be helpful for us to make the hair of the sheep or the lamb. Is it a sheep or a lamb? I don't know. So we are going to insert the hook right in the place where we started to do the ridges. You have to find it. You can clearly see it in your work, the first ridge. So you have to make sure that you insert the hook there and start making his or her, it's gonna be a her, start making her hair. As you can see, I did 1 chain to connect the white yarn, and then I'm gonna do 6 chains like this, and then into the second stitch you have to make a slip stitch. Insert the hook, pull up a loop and pull it all the way through. Next, staying in the same place, you're gonna make 6 chains again, and into the next stitch, which is the third stitch, you're gonna place a slip stitch. Again, make 6 chains, into the next, place a slip stitch. I think you got the pattern now. You are just making 6 chains and then placing a slip stitch into the next. Again, make 6 chains, place a slip stitch into the next. You have to repeat this until you reach the very end, until you have to do it into all the ridges that you have. To make sure that you are doing the correct thing, I will just show you the sheep's head after I finish the first row of the brim, the ridge, not the brim, the ridge, and then you can see what it should look like. Okay guys, this is the end of the first round of ridges, and this is what it looks like. Almost reminds me of a flower, I don't know why. And you just have to do this, continue this until you reach the very end. Okay, I hope there is no any confusions, and I'll meet you guys at the very end. Okay, I'm done, and this is me leaving enough yarn and cutting off. And next, using the darning needle, I'm going to hide this excess yarn. And don't worry if you can't make the hair at the very top, because mine, as you can see here, this part, it doesn't mind. If you can, however, make the hair there, then that's great, but it's okay. After hiding the yarn tail and securing it, I will cut the excess yarn. And next, we have to make the ear part. As always, we are going to start with the magic ring, and then we're gonna place 5 single crochets into the magic ring. That is our first round, and by the end of the first round, obviously the total stitch count would be 5. I just completed my first round, and for the next round we are just going to do 2 single crochets into each of those stitches. That means you have to do increases until you reach the end of the second round. And by the end of this round, the total stitch count would be 10. I'll meet you guys by the end of this round. For the third round, we are just going to place 1 single crochet each into those stitches from round 2. By the end of the third round, the stitch count would still remain the same, which is 10. I'll meet you guys by the end of round 3. I just finished doing it, and this is what it should look like. You're gonna leave enough yarn to sew it onto the head and finish it off like this. You have to make 2 ears. Since I already made one, this is my second ear, and one thing I did was the middle yarn end, I took it to the corner like this with the help of a darning needle so that both yarn strands would be at the corner. Okay, so these are the 2 ears, and next we have to sew it onto the sheep's head. Soon as you finish the ear part, it would look like a cup, and then you have to fold it in 2 just like in the video to get the 2 ears. And this is me like checking out the placements of the ear. You can keep it like wherever it matches, but I'm going to keep the ears like it's kind of really hard to explain. You just have to eyeball it, and this is where I ended up placing the ears, and then I'm gonna sew it onto the head. Roughly, this is how I got the placements. I considered this as the center, and from there onwards I counted approximately 6 stitches down and 2 behind, and that is where I fixed my right ear of the sheep. Sewing the ear part is something, it's also kind of hard to explain. I just turned it like this and just kept it in place and made sure that it is fixed to the head using the 2 yarn strands that is left on the ear. For the left ear also the same thing. From the center I counted down 6 stitches approximately and 2 behind, so that it's kind of like in the same alignment as the right ear. So basically these things you just have to eyeball it and do it. If you feel like the ear should be more downwards, you can. It's your choice, your preference. Okay, this squirrel is like shouting for almost like half an hour now. I'm so sorry if it's any disturbance to you. And we are done. Now we are just left off with the final touches, which are the eyes and the nose and the blush. So to make the nose, I'm gonna use a black strand, black thread. You can use black yarn or felt, that is your preference. I'm just going to fast forward it without removing it from the video, because maybe sometimes you will need a guide and you can just look at it to see how I made the nose part. After embroidering the nose part, I just place few knots to make it secure, and then hide the excess thread and cut off. Next we have to glue the eyes. So for that, here I'm using the P6000 glue, and I feel like the eyes should be placed here like 2 stitches from each side of the nose. So this is totally your preference. You can place the eyes downwards with the nose a little bit more down. After that, we have to make the blush. For that, I'm using milk cotton yarn in like pastel pink. So it's not visible as pink in this video here. It just looks more like white or something. But anyways, I just used the pink yarn and made the blush like this. You can use felt and cut out 2 ovals and paste it if it is easier for you. Here I'm using yarn. Next, I felt like adding a bow to her. Again, using the same color that I used for the blush. I made a slip knot and then I chained 40. So this number of chains, 40 was enough for me to form a little bow. So it might be a little bit longer or shorter you need. So you can chain less or chain more according to the length that you require for your bow. So I made 40. And next, like this, with the help of the darning needle, I sent it underneath one of her hairs, a little bit behind to the right side, and made the little bow like this. Finally, at the very end, I formed a knot to make sure that it won't unravel. This is a little bit tricky, so I got the knot right below the first chain and the last chain at the 2 sides of the bow and cut it like this. And just like that, we are done with our little baby sheep. I am attaching a keyring to make it into a keychain. So by the time I'm editing this video, I felt like something is incomplete. So maybe I will be making a body part for the sheep baby, so stay tuned. And look at this, she's so cute. She's kind of different than my other amigurumis. This is the first time that I'm trying out to make the hair like this, and I tried to be clear as possible, and it's so easy to make the hair like this. I hope you guys enjoyed my video, and I'm really thankful for all the love and support that you all give me. Don't forget to like, share and comment, and direct any DMs. If you have any questions, you can email me or message me on Instagram at PiKi PiKi Crafts. You can find patterns on my Etsy as well as my coffee shop. I'll see you guys in my next tutorial. Have a nice day. Bye bye.